Every day, prices climb a little higher. Groceries cost more. Rent feels heavier. And that same paycheck, somehow, buys less. People call it inflation. But what if I told you inflation isn't just a number? It's a silent force, reshaping lives, economies, and futures. It's the mother skipping meat for dinner, the student delaying tuition, the worker watching savings melt away. All while headlines say the economy is growing. For 2 years now, inflation has been a quiet war waged in every home, fueled by easy money, global chaos, and human greed. But like every storm, it didn't start out of nowhere, and it won't end overnight. Today, we'll uncover how inflation took over the world, how governments lost control, how prices became sticky, and what it will really take to break free from this cycle. Because this isn't just about numbers, it's about survival, choices, and the cost of living in a world that's forgotten what normal even means. Inflation isn't some abstract chart on a screen. It's real, it's personal, and it's everywhere. For millions, it's the quiet panic of watching the grocery bill double while wages barely move. It's the sinking feeling of opening your utility bill or scrolling through housing listings that seem designed for another planet. Over the past 2 years, inflation has become the invisible enemy of ordinary people. It's not just a rise in prices. It's a drop in confidence, in comfort, in breathing room. The perfect storm began with low interest rates, massive government spending, and a surge in demand. When money was cheap and stimulus checks were flying, the world spent and kept spending. But production couldn't keep up. Supply chains broke down, ships sat idle, shelves emptied. And when companies realized people had to buy, no matter the cost, they raised prices even more. It's the cruel cycle of profit under the guise of inflation. They say they're just keeping up, but in truth, they're pushing it further. The result? A new kind of inequality, not between the rich and poor, but between those who can adjust and those who can't. Inflation doesn't discriminate by age or race, but it always hits hardest where wallets are thinnest. For many, it's no longer about thriving, it's about surviving, one price hike at a time. To fight inflation, we first have to understand what set it ablaze. It started with good intentions, keeping economies alive during the global shutdown. Governments printed money, central banks slashed interest rates, and households were told to spend their way out of fear. At first, it worked. Markets boomed, jobs returned, people felt safe. But beneath the optimism, something dangerous was growing. Too much money chasing too few goods. Factories were closed, shipping lanes jammed, raw materials ran short, and yet demand exploded. Consumers wanted cars, electronics, homes, all at once. Then came the final spark: corporate greed. Companies realized they could quietly raise prices and blame global inflation. Many did. Their profits soared, even as customers struggled. This perfect mix of chaos and opportunity turned inflation into a wildfire. But unlike past crises, this one didn't just burn through financial markets. It spread to every aisle, every pump, every home. The fire didn't start overnight, and it won't go out easily. Because once prices rise, convincing them to fall again is a battle of will and policy. When inflation took hold, central banks had only one weapon left: interest rates. Raise them high enough, and borrowing becomes expensive. People spend less, businesses pause expansion, and demand cools off. But the cost of this medicine? Pain. In Australia, the central bank once promised rates would stay low until 2024. Then inflation hit. Now, families who borrowed at record lows are trapped, paying double or triple the mortgage payments they expected. This isn't just an Australian story. It's global. From the US to Europe to Asia, rate hikes have become the new norm. Credit card debt rises, small businesses tighten budgets, and economic optimism fades. Yet, this harsh cure might be the only way out. Inflation feeds on spending. Interest rates choke that spending slowly, painfully, but effectively. Still, every rate hike cuts both ways. It helps curb inflation, but also risks pushing families, even entire economies, to the edge of a recession. The interest game isn't about winning. It's about surviving long enough to stabilize the board. And for millions, that survival means rethinking how to live in a world where money itself feels heavier with every passing month. Even as inflation cools, prices remain stubbornly high. Economists call it sticky inflation, when costs don't fall as quickly as they rose. You see it everywhere. Gas prices stabilize, but groceries stay expensive. Rents drop slightly, but new leases remain out of reach. It's the illusion of recovery, where headlines say inflation is easing, but your wallet says otherwise. Why? Because when businesses get used to higher profits, they rarely give them up. When landlords charge record rent, few lower it voluntarily. And because wages have risen slightly, consumers seem able to pay, so the system holds the line. Add to that the slow-moving nature of contracts, leases, and supplier deals, and you have a delayed recovery that feels like no recovery at all. Interest rate hikes are starting to bite. Demand is falling. Inventories are piling up. But the emotional and financial exhaustion of 2 years of chaos means people have adjusted to this new normal. In truth, the real danger now isn't runaway inflation, it's complacency. Believing things are fine when they're just tolerable. Maybe prices won't ever go back to where they were. And maybe that's the lesson we needed. Economies evolve. After every crisis comes a shift in behavior, values, and strategy. People save differently, spend differently, live differently. Inflation has forced a global reset, a painful reminder that stability is fragile and prosperity temporary. Governments now prioritize resilience over growth. Households prioritize savings over splurges, and people everywhere are redefining what enough really means. We may never return to the pre-pandemic world of cheap money and endless consumption, but that might not be such a bad thing. Because beneath the struggle lies adaptation, innovation, renewal. Inflation didn't just make life expensive, it exposed how dependent we were on systems built for convenience, not endurance. The road ahead is uncertain, but if we've learned anything, it's that humans adjust. We survive, we endure, we rebuild. And maybe, just maybe, the real victory isn't prices coming down, it's people rising up.